So we're going to break down some of the different pathways into games. We'll start with employed.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. There's a lot of changes happening with technology, consumer preferences, even like marketing dynamics. Um, but there'll still be opportunities within established companies because like we're not going to stop playing games. Do you plan on stop playing games anytime soon? No, I don't.
I might open a bar.
You can have games at the
At
bar.
yeah.
We'll see.
So obviously there's still going to be a market for games, but the competition is going to be fierce. So let's have a look at the nature of employed roles and how they'll change and what quirks you might need to stand out. So who in the audience is keen to go for the employed route, working for a company like King, I guess?
Yeah,
Good
just to
example.
pluck one out.
Yeah, just one comes to mind. Ish, kind of considering it. Yeah.
Okay.
I would say, so at this stage, whether it's nice to have goals. You want to do work on big company, you want to do indie, you want to do things like that. But the moment you get an opportunity that lets you do paid work, do it. Maybe with a caveat of you have to be paid. You're not like an intern or things like that. You have to be paid. You live in, especially if you live in London, you need to make sure because these are, you're a junior, but you still need to be paid. Very important. Never let people do the whole exposure or things like that. When you have for when you're actually doing work. When someone gives you a test, and it looks like they're making you do work for them, you can literally go, this is something that you should actually get paid for. So you can refuse a test like that.
Do companies do that? Like,
I've had people when I used to code, I would look at and I would go, you want me to fix this, or you want me to write a module or something like that, and I'll go, that's not a test. You're making me do because people are sneaky.
Yeah.
Same as when you do sometimes you do designs. They ask you, remember, they do presentations, things like that. Again, it's a fine line. It's not as rife as it was before because social media, basically you can just call out everyone, but it still happens from time to time. So it's always, you have to be cautious. But at this stage, don't turn your nose up on a paying job, because the pay is still, that's there, but the main thing is you will get to work in an actual thing that will give you, it will open your eye to how everything works, the development process, the people, the teams, if it's a big team, if it's a small team, all of those are valuable. So
yeah. So that kind of sort of correlates with the question I'm about to ask is what can people take, what steps can people take to differentiate themselves from the other competition?
So the main thing is when you're first starting out, you can't refer to your CV as in like your past employment because it's not there. So the main thing is what projects you've worked on. Be as detailed, be proud about this is what you did. You coded this here, you've iterated it, you've refined it, or you've designed something and this is different, and you can always show your best work, obviously, in your portfolio, always keep updating it. Those are the most important thing. I've seen so many portfolios where people put stuff that I know they're very proud of it, but it's old, and it's not the same anymore. And also when you're submitting this stuff, tailor it, put in the type of work that you've done that wherever you're applying to. Seriously, it helps because I get so many briefs that, oh, we want someone that has this similar art style, or they write this way, or things like that. And it makes you stand out straight away because it cuts down on them on us looking for, can you do this? If you just show us something like that.
You know what's funny about that? So I'm, I guess, slowly in the position of being on that side of the CV portfolio. And what was really interesting is having that mindset. So Alex, who not other Alex. Yeah. Although I guess I did it for you as well because I did look at yours CV. So Alex, who designed the covers for our latest manga, he did a placement with us for a month, and I remember that day we had to pack all the interviews into one day, so did like 8 interviews for concept artists. And what was interesting, what I was looking for is someone who I felt could do basically like this, who could do the concepts for our characters and our stories. So as the employer side, we went through, I think Alex was like the 6th or 7th person. And that's not to say, I mean, there's varying levels of quality. So there was a technical aspect to it. But once I saw Alex's work, he had his portfolio ready. So he had a website. He showed the process as well. So he showed like characters, environment, art. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, okay, that's it. So actually what I did, I don't think he knows this, but while we were doing the interview, I actually sent his portfolio to Penali, who's our illustrator who does our manga. I said, what do you think about this? And she said, like, looks good and everything. But I just saw a match basically. Yeah. So I say that to say, if you're applying somewhere, think about what they do. So in a way, it's not all about you. It's about you matching to them. Because what you want is the person on the other side, as I did, to say, okay, I can see that working with this. And then pretty much once I saw it, I was like, yeah, that's done. Like, I mean, I still listen to the other people, but you know, it was, I couldn't tell you who we listened to afterwards because like I found the person. So just bear that in mind. So it's not just about like doing the work and everything, but it's about matching it to as best as you can. Because you know, it'll be easier sometimes, maybe not so others, but matching it to the company that you apply
Yeah.
to.
So what you do with that is you want to show the place that you apply to that, you know, you're enthusiastic about them, right? So, you know, you mentioned their games, like, oh, I'm a big fan of your games, and it helps obviously if you actually like the games, but people can put stuff and you can learn. That's what Google is for, right? And but you basically you highlight them and you phrase it in a positive way. So I will be a great asset. I will be able to do stuff for you. I will you basically you connect them to you. Because when you just go, oh, I want to work in the games industry, I like to play games, things like that, and I code, it's good, but it's very standard. But when you use words to connect, so you know, oh, I've always admired the studio. I played your game since God knows how long. And you know, working here, I know that I will learn so many things, and you know, we would be great. I can, you know, I will be here. I will be able to, you know, learn, develop, and grow, and help the studio reach, you know, be better, you know, reach new heights, whatever, things like that. It's just generalized, but you do that, you will stand out because people will see that you are more enthusiastic, and it's not not that you make it so that it's very monotonous, but it has some feeling in it because that's the one part that you have in your CV or your LinkedIn is the you know the personal part, because everything else you keep it concise. You state what you've done, your skills, and all those things, but that's it, because you shorten it because people unfortunately now have the attention of goldfish, and so people get bored. I'm good at what I do because I absorb everything. So I will go through however many because I'm fascinated and I'm curious. But most people don't. And it's sad. It should not be the case, but it does happen. So you try to do it. So, you know, yeah, get CV reviews when people offer it online or events, do stuff like that. Ask. You guys can ask me, find me on LinkedIn. Seriously, I don't mind, right? Because it doesn't really cost me much, and if I can do that, cool, you know. But just ask. If people too busy, different thing, but yeah, never hurts.
Cool. Do you know another thing that Alex done, which was pretty cool? Come and said hi at Comic-Con. So you weren't there,
I was going to say, I don't remember that.
but he actually, yeah, because you wasn't there. You was off
I was in Malta.
in Malta enjoying the sun.
Yeah.
But the standard approached me and introduced himself as well.
There you
I mean, yeah, which brings me on to my next question. How important is it to like network and build relationships within the games industry?
I would like to tell you that it's a bonus, but it's actually really essential, especially now, if because of everything, literally, it gives you so much advantage. Face-to-face stuff, I know not everyone can do it, but try to work on those areas. Go to events, whether you're on your own or not, it doesn't matter. But networking is so important now because the gaming community as a whole, people in the industry are quite friendly because coders, that's what Stack Overflow is for. That the whole thing involves, it's like a gigantic thing where people just help each other out, right? But people, when you see them, no matter how big they are in the gaming world, they will say hi to you most of the time because they're gamers. They like to see people passionate about stuff. I can't speak for all levels, executive level, but everyone else that I know are passionate gamers. Quick example, I went to the BAFTA nominee party where we had a
Can we
ball.
get an invite to that? Because
Um,
anyway, that's not what we're here for. So.
I talk a lot, but so we went there. Everyone was dressed up. There's all these big people. You had like the Baldur's Gate guys. You had the Alan Wake people, all that stuff. And then afterwards, we made a beeline to N364. We're all dressed up. We went in there, shocked the staff, and then I was chatting to the bar manager, and he said, "Oh yeah, who you guys from? Yeah, we just had the BAFTA stuff, and Sam Lake is downstairs." And he went, "No way." I said, "Yes, yes." And he goes, "Yeah, I introduced you. I've never met Sam Lake before, but I literally took him downstairs. We went up and I went, 'Hi, Sam. You don't know me, but this is the guy who runs the bar.'" Said hello, introduced them, took their picture, and I got free drinks from that place forever now. So great. But that wouldn't have happened if I didn't just go, "Hey, just treat people like a human." And I mean, Sam Lake is the friendliest person in the world, but most people aren't. Just again, very key thing: be nice, be respectful. That's it.
Okay, I like it. Yeah, I need to work on that. Getting to know people and getting to the BAFTAs one day. So, if you talk about self-employed,
Yes.
self-employed path. So, this is a kind of because I went from employment in a different industry to self-employed. This is a path. So yeah, but I think what's interesting in games, like we've seen the shift to the way people can basically just make their own career. Everything you see here is literally made up. It's funny, people like payment things are made up. But you can create your own path essentially, and you've got social media, you've got like digital platforms. We're on one right now, and it just allows you to become creators as well. So specifically, like content creators is an aspect, but just creators in general. So there's a lot of freedom to it, but there is a lot of responsibility as I'm learning and continue to learn each day. So is there anyone here, whether it's content creation or something freelance, would want to go that self-employed path? Show of hands. Cool, you brave souls. This is for you. So from when I hear people talk about it, they feel like, working for yourself is like the freedom, right? You don't have to come to a company, as nice as the food and everything is here. You can do your own thing. You are in charge. You are your own boss. And that is true, but it does come with caveats. So I'd say, I mean, I can apply this to everyone because obviously Tazzii's the way to say so. So what are some of the risks and rewards? So I'll do the rewards, and I'll probably do the risks also, but I'll start with the rewards. So obviously, yeah, you are your own boss. You get to set your own path. You can wake up whenever you want. There's no teacher. I know we've got teachers here as well, but there's no teachers telling you you've got to get here by a certain time. Wake up whenever you want. That's great. What are some of the downsides?
Some of the downsides.
That is the downside.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword.
It's a double-edged sword. You it's not like if you're sick, you can't just like call in sick and be like, "Oh, can't come in today," and then if it's a good company and you don't get sick pay basically. Like if you are sick, everything comes to a grinding halt, which is not fun. Happened to me the other day, and then I had to not go to two very, very, very well paid freelance jobs which is kind of like was my work for the week, and that means then no money comes in, and which means then you have to think about how you're going to pay your bills and eat that for that period of time. Or there's like lots of external things that can then affect you, and you don't just get a paycheck anyway at the end of the month. Like, yeah, that's probably the toughest thing, and you have to weigh up if it's worth it or not.
Oh, yeah. What do you think?
I mean, so I'm going to touch on a few things. Sorry if you don't mind. Right?
Yeah.
So, so the three main things really is to me is fully, fully employed, contracting, and freelancing. And so we're in the freelancing part. Freelancing, I mean, technically you're part of your contracting, which means that the bad side of it, I'm going to highlight this very clearly because this is something that I've been trying to change, is when you're a contractor, you don't get benefits for the most part. You get prorated, which means you will get paid kind of like to make up for it a bit more. But
So you get paid a bit more than, say, an
like
employee.
say like 1 year you have like holiday time, right? As a contractor, you don't have holiday time, but they literally you work that out in your pay. But that means if you're doing a contract job, you have to basically you can work as hard as you want with no breaks or not. I worked 12 years. I basically did the project 6-9 months, 1 year, and I traveled for a month. But that's me established as a freelancer, contractor, consultant, whatever you want to call it. But basically, that's the plus side of it. Bad side, you are your boss, which means you have to manage everything, and that can be a pain. And it's literally you have to be so on the ball about all those things. People can hire other people for that, but to start off, you can to me, contracting, when you do internships, stuff like that, it's similar-ish because most of them pay now. And then flipping back quickly on the full-time job. The main thing about that is you get benefits. So, healthcare, bonuses, holidays, free equipment, things like that. All those matter because, especially now, electricity is expensive. So you have to basically look for places that provide those. And when you're starting off, you can kind of forego more of those things because you can get experience and basic pay. But as you find your footing, you get more confident in what you're doing, you can look for that in different studios. And you look for the people that's going towards where you want. You look for places where you can grow, you can move around. You can go maybe machine learning, and you can go to system tools. You can do you look for places like that because the number one reason, two reasons that people mainly leave a job is one, money. Nothing wrong with that because everyone has bills, but there's nothing wrong with that. But the other one is you get bored. You stop learning. So you want to go to a place where you can learn different things.
Yeah. Like keep pushing yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess the sort of the freelance self-employed, you kind of have that, if that's a plus, you can move around a bit more.
You can move around a bit more. At the same time, it is also quite nerve-wracking until you establish because you literally live paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you get established, you literally get referred. Which is what I did for 12. That's why 12 years. I never had to go to an interview
because people would put you forward.
And I meet people at events who turns out to be CEOs. So that helps.
That's also good. Yeah, yeah.
But
I'm learning that trick.
But yeah, so there's a plus and minus to either. But it doesn't make it easier to be full-time. I mean, full-time to freelance because they each have their own benefits. But when you're starting out, take whichever one that comes along because it's, especially if there's a place that you like, people that you when you interview with them or something and you think that these people are actually nice, go for it because you can't afford to be picky at this point in time because you want as many things in your CV professionally as quickly as possible because that will help you against everyone else. But also it's more to do with it's good to learn different things.
Yeah.
So you know.
Yeah. And one of the things, so we're talking about like quirks and everything, and we asked the question at the top. Actually, show of hands, who here like knows like this is my thing, this is what I'm good at? Show of hands. Okay. Okay. Would have liked to. Every time I ask a question, I always see this. some some non-zero percentage of people will do this. I love that. Okay, so of the people who put their hand up, like who really knows it enough to ask for money to do that thing? Okay. So yeah, yeah. So this is what I found. Like like I said, I was a software engineer so I was employed, and then I've lived last decade in some some mishmash of like entrepreneurship and freelance stuff. But what I found is when I was in a job, I almost you just had to turn up because the deal had already been done before the contract. This is your hours, this is what you work. So you just had to turn up and not mess things up, and you'll be paid every month. And then I remember particularly in the early days when I left the job, where I would do things, and I would do things I thought well, and either not be paid immediately or not be paid what I now know is not the value of what I did. And you think, because I feel if I look back, I still had that employee mindset of like I did the job, therefore you get paid for it. No, you have to almost like demand like what the thing is worth, and that requires a knowledge of your skill, your talent, your quirk, and then that like confidence to say this is what it's worth to you, to this company, this team, whatever. So, and I think particularly with the freelance, and I'll use content creation. I don't know if anyone here is particularly into content creation or thinking about it or knows someone, but I think it's a good example of, because like we also do a podcast and we interview a lot of creative professionals, we interview a lot of like content creators, and I see, I mean technically I'm also a content creator. Yeah. So I see people who do a good job because they enjoy doing it are picking up skills that they don't realize are valuable to other people.
Oh yeah.
And then not like, obviously you can just do it for fun and that, or if, whatever the situation is, if you might not charge as much or whatever it is. But I'm thinking particularly when it comes to like working with a team where there is a budget, like a large company, underselling themselves. And I've been majority of my adult life guilty of that. Like, so how would you go about, I mean, maybe like identifying or having that confidence in the skills, the qualities that you have, so that you can demand that?
So you should try to think about it as demanding, unless they're being difficult. You ask again. You send an invoice when you're asking for how much you should get paid. It takes a while, especially when you're young, when you're inexperienced. You don't know how much you should charge. I've done that, and it takes a while to figure it out. But if you undercharge someone, it's a learning thing. That's fine, because you can always think, oh, I can actually get more next time, or as I improve, I can do more. But never price yourself out straight away by demanding something too high. I've had people that do that, and I just kind of go, your skills don't back this up. Like unfortunately, you can't do that. But in terms of your skills, if you make something, you create something, you code something, and it works the way you want it to, it looks the way you want it to, that's something to be proud of. So you show it. But then, I'm a perfectionist. I always work on things. But as engineers, you have to lock down, or you'll never stop working on something. So you, at some point, when you're drawing, so you're designing something, you have to go, this is done. I can keep improving it, but this is done. When you're coding, this works, this is optimized to this level, it's done. Because otherwise you go crazy, right? But it's good. When you're talking to people, you ask, you invoice stuff, because when you look at the place, whoever's hiring you for whatever job, you get a feel for people in terms of how they respond to you via email or on a phone, things like that. When you ask for invoices, they've been in business longer than you've been doing stuff. So if you send them an invoice and you don't get any response, ask. There's no.
So you say like, when you say invoice, are you saying like how much to put in the invoice or just the act of sending? Because at the beginning,
originally when you're never do work unless you have something written down on you're gonna get paid. If you can, always get a deposit, like, because that's standard. That's not outrageous demands. Then, because there's nothing worse than you working on something for a month. You turn in your invoice and they go, well, or they run away. It happens. That's happened to me when I was younger. Sucks. So ask for, just say, because when you ask for stuff like that, it actually makes you look more professional. People will take you more seriously, that, oh, I can't screw over this person. So you ask them nicely. And the thing that you do with invoices is you put that little trick where, to make it look more official, is you put that, oh, please process this within 7 days, 14 days, things like that, because it scares people. They think, oh, crap. But as long as you create a paper trail, you can do that. And if it's agreed to beforehand, never ever start work on something to have it like quantified, written down. This is what you're going to do. This is what you're going to get paid, and this is the length of time it will take. Because every time someone demands a change in the spec, a change in alteration, that shifts up, that changes the delivery date. It has to, because you are not magicians where you can absorb massive changes and still keep the same timeline. Because that's what happened, and that's what crunch happens, and that's why people burn out. So you have to look after yourself as well. Okay.
Yeah. Who here of interest has done an invoice? All right, cool.
Get paid.
Because we've worked with look, we do work experience program, and not everyone has done it. So no, it's a good point. I think it's that. Yes, it's knowing, like you say, knowing the amount, knowing how to communicate that. I have been in a situation where I did a talk for a large company, not this company, but I learned a lesson by the time I did the one for this company. But and they asked how much, and it's always that the dreaded question, or at least I find it, going from employed to self-employed. Someone asks you, how much do you charge? It's like, I don't know, because I'm used to people telling me this is but no, I was going to say,
yeah, sorry.
So like how much, and I remember saying an amount that is what I had been doing in the early days. And the person, I think she was the HR person that booking me, and the look in her face, because it was basically too low, way too low. She to her credit, she like explained it to me like, this is too low. So if you imagine that if an amount is too low, like for the skill that you're offering, because they are used to paying a lot more for it, and that was a good lesson for me. It was like it wasn't too long ago. I was a lot older than you were, but it was a lesson for me to remember that it's obviously the value of what you're doing, what you need to survive in that, but it's also the perception, right? So if you're talking to a company that is used to paying a certain amount for what you do, go to that certain amount, and go there. Don't undersell yourself. So
I think as well at that point, like you were saying, you charge at what like you were charging in the early days. Like reassess. Like your value will grow the more you do. Like when you're starting out, your value is going to be completely different than what it is once you've got some experience under your belt, once you've worked with like known brands like that. Like having a known brand to your name will suddenly like increase your value a lot.
The caveat to this obviously is we all have phones now. So easy to research these things. Go to Glassdoor to look at companies, studios. You can look at how they are, because people leave reviews in those places, so you can find out, would I want to work with them? Would I, do these things? Can they be dependent on? You can look at, there's a breakdown in terms of how much people are paid in different industries. You can actually find that. If I can find it, I will post it online, because I think I have it somewhere, but it literally has a breakdown on how much everyone's paid from junior, mid, senior level, director level, different disciplines. Those are handy because for me personally, in the gaming industry, it's still low, but at least you have a point to start from. And Nigel is right. Tailor your pay depending on the place. I work for startups where I just did the minimum to help them. I work for large places where I ripped them off. And the thing is, as you said, is they expect that, oh, if you're charging this much, that sounds about right, because that's what we're big people. We can afford this. Yeah. So there's nothing wrong with that as well. But yeah, know who you're working for. Just use your phones, research,
Yeah.
laptop, computers. It's so easy now. These days, there's so much information you
Yeah.
just get.
I think another good thing is finding a mentor that's doing what you do but has been doing that for a longer time, or like your peers, like talk to each other. Don't be afraid to talk about money because otherwise that's how we will get messed over. It's because we're not communicating with each other, because that can let you know, like, it happens a lot in, like, as a content creator, like a company will pay one creator one amount and then another creator a different amount, but they both
Same
should
thing,
be getting the
yeah.
same amount. So yeah, like, talk to your peers as well.
Okay. All right, we'll do the last part, and then we'll also leave time for questions as well. So if we have those burning questions, yeah, hold on to those. We will get to them, but we'll do the indie part.
Yeah. So we've spoke about, being employed by a company. We've spoke about being self-employed. So what's left is starting your own, becoming an indie dev, starting your own studio, and creating that from scratch. It has its freedoms, and a lot of satisfaction in that, but there's also some big obstacles that can get in your way, and some uncertainties. So from securing funding to navigating the complexities of game design, marketing, distribution, there's all of these different factors that you have to consider. But people do it because there's a lot of self-expression. It's very satisfying. So let's look at some of the challenges that might be faced there. So fun fact, King, Activision and Blizzard all started as independent game studios. King, the creator of Candy Crush Saga, was established in 2003 in Sweden, initially developing web games before shifting to mobile. Activision was founded in 1979 by a former Atari designer, was one of the first independent game studios. And Blizzard, originally Silicon and Synapse, was founded in 1991. Developed games for other companies before hitting success with their own titles such as Warcraft, Orcs, and Humans. So, they can grow.
Yeah.
Oh, and fun fact, I stole people from Blizzard,
really?
Activision, and King
Yes.
when I did work for Sega. How did that?
Do they know that?
Huh?
Do they know that?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
We
I don't wanna-
all the recruiters, we kind of know each other, and we would go to events and we look at how many people we stole from each other's companies. I mean, not steal, but you kind of giving them a better opportunity, because
Yeah.
when someone moves from one place, there's no malice, because we know that they're doing what's best for them. So if someone leaves a place I'm working at, I'd rather leave it on good terms and say, hey, you're doing this because it's time for you to move on to a new project. You want to do different things. Good. It's nice. That's it. Be happy for people.
It's good outlook.
So it's not just about making a game when you're an indie dev. It also requires being an entrepreneur of sorts. So what else is involved in bringing a game to market? Anyone want to?
So, I mean, the first thing you need to do is have a concept for game. Like, what it is that you like, why you're making the game, right? And when you're doing a startup, you obviously want to secure funding, you want to find a publisher, all those different things. But you need to have that core thing in your mind. This is the game you want to make. This is the length of time you're investing in it. And that helps you because you have a scope. This is start, middle, end, and you can fill in as you go along. But when you have that, even if you've not even developed the game, you can rough it out, storyboard, things like that. When you go to events like this, so many of the people in publishers, they want to hear your ideas. And so you know, anyone know what a pitch, like a, you know, when you do your pitch
Pitch
yeah,
deck.
pitch deck. So we talked about it with a friend where you keep it short, concise. You don't want a manifesto of like a Bible size thing. You keep it as, if you can actually summarize it in one sheet. Seriously, if you can do that, that game's gonna get made.
And
But
what you're describing, what you're describing is essentially having a game concept and then actually going to pitch it for funding.
for funding,
specifically,
yeah.
Because I don't know. Hopefully, this is not a surprise for anyone, but you need a lot of money to make a game. But
If you're doing a indie startup, then yes, because you can still create games on your own these days. You have tools that's freely available. You have Unreal, Unity, things like that. But if you want to work where it's not just you, you need to basically be able to pitch it. Thankfully, because the cost is not crazy, that's why you have publishers now, indie publishers that specialize in that, because they can now basically, they can go talk to you and they know that they'll see a result within short period of time, because it's not a long development process. And that's actually, less risky, because what's happening now in AAA is decades of development time, and super risky when it's millions, hundreds of millions. So, but when indie, you don't have that. You sidestep that. So you can do that, and the people that you meet are much more approachable than when you're doing the AAA stuff. Big studios have very corporate setups, like you have to have arranged meetings, things like that.
yeah,
Indie, you rock up and you see someone at WSD and they had a free time, have a chat. That's it.
yeah, I definitely even just to arrange this, the layers to get to. So yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, definitely. And so obviously there's a lot of skills like needing to find funding. I'm sure that requires some set of skills that people might not have considered. What are some of the fundamental quirks and qualities that people might need to thrive as an indie developer?
Be able to talk. I got invited to the House of Lords, met a venture capitalist because I talk. Literally, people just came up to me.
And just to explain what venture capitalist is,
Money
just in
people.
case. Anyway,
They're people with money. They're the one that funds things. But I will go to any place and I can talk to anyone, because I just want to see, oh, you look interesting, let's have a chat. If it's something advantageous, cool. But if not, I'm not gonna go, oh, I'm sad. But I don't go, oh, I've got to get to know you because I want something and I'm gonna do that. I was just, you're setting yourself up with expectations when that happens, and that's why people get scared of talking to people. I have nothing up here about that. I can go and talk. I met the head of Larian, Guilford, the studio head, at a mixer, and we talked about Dragon's Dogma 2 for the entire time. And I only talked to him because I came in, I was walking towards the drinks, and he said hi and kept walking with me. But after that, they basically, we started talking, do things like that. But anything can happen.
I feel like both of you got that skill, and just like you said, just talking to people and suddenly, hey, we're friends. And there's opportunities in that. It's a good skill. And I think because from what you're saying about, so if you imagine as an indie developer, like you say, you said like venture capitalist is one to get the funding for your game, but even, and I found it's not as an indie studio, but just as someone started their own business, is your peers and your potential like team people who are going to join you on that journey. You have to, again, just communication. You have to communicate like what you see and hear to other people to get them to like jump on board, especially with things. I mean, I feel anything entrepreneurial, but like with games is such a difficult process. It's like such a difficult process, and to communicate like the why of why they should join you, why they should stick with it, that kind of thing is really important. So it's not just the funding side that is important, because you need money to make a game, but it is also the people that are going to help you on that journey. Because for the majority of time, I mean, I don't know if it's rare, but I imagine there's not too many like fully solo game indie studios. You're partnered with someone, or there's three of you, and then you build and build and build, hopefully. So you need that skill. So it's interesting as we're talking, it's not always the technical skill, is that those common like soft skills, just to reinforce that point. Hopefully it's sunk in.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing as well is when you think of indie studio, by the way, don't just think these are all people who are like new. Most indie studios these days, a lot of them are formed by industry veterans who have had enough of corporation stuff.
In fact, it's going to be more of that now.
No, it's more of that because yeah, basically it's just going for the indie side of it, there's a lot of things that you have to think about, but the main thing about that is you have to be flexible, you have to be adaptable, and literally just talk to everyone. Like, it really does make a difference. It really does make a difference. If you ever look me up on, I don't know, did I take it out? My LinkedIn profile is so long because of so many different things I've done that it's crazy, and a lot of that is because I just like meeting people and I like to talk and all those other things. But as I coded during the evening and during the day and worked in the bars in the evening, it gives you all the different experiences. But I just
Hey there, I'm Nigel from mayamada. Thanks for watching our video. Don't forget to subscribe and check out the other great videos we have on the channel. You can also join the Gamepad Discord and check out the next event at gamepad.events. We'll see you soon.